I got socks on. It didn't quite hit on the comeback as I thought it would. What up, y'all? Welcome back to another installment of Something Creative.
Here.
There he is. I'm one of the co-hosts, Josh Gons. This is the homie
Lugo.
There he is. This is a podcast where we talk about our experiences as creatives and things we struggle with in the day-to-day. And Lugo pick me up on anything I might have missed.
And just how we view lives and experience life through our creative lenses.
Lugo's low-key a poet, man. That was fire.
Hey, man, low-key.
Man, so different setup today. Shouts to the title. Well, the Twitch title. Shouts to the Twitch chat who's watching this live on today's Thursday. My days are all mixed.
Today is Thursday. Twitch is
watching this live on Twitch.
Bot in the chat.
Twitch.tv/JoshyGons with 2 Z's at the end because somebody else got the singular Joshy Gons single Z. Anyway, they're watching this live right now. We'll be able to bring in some of the comments into the stream onto the frame. Shouts to Girl God Game as such. Okay, best intro. Not bad, right? Yeah, we're working on it.
Not bad. Shouts to this hotel Wi-Fi. It's wavy, man.
Yo, let me tell you what, man. This Wi-Fi, not telling you where we're at, but this Wi-Fi is booming. It's out of here. If you're watching this on YouTube, also welcome. This isn't live, but we are pre-recording on Thursday, pretty much whenever the schedules work. Because as freelance, well, Lugo's like really freelance. I'm like freelance adjacent because I still do freelance stuff on the side. But anyway, schedules are booming. Schedules are crazy. Yeah, this man. If y'all tuned in for the last potty that we did live when I was in another hotel, it wasn't this. It wasn't. We're blessed and highly favored in Tacoma right now, and I'm grateful. I'm very grateful.
Okay, this might be the move moving forward. You might just have to pull up to this whole.
Hold on, bro. But my home Wi-Fi was just fine, bro. But anyway, that's why I don't got the mic. That's why I don't got my headphones on. I could be wearing headphones, but I didn't want to alter any. I didn't want to give my computer any reason to be like disconnected or anything. But yeah, man. Shouts to the chat. Also, shouts to the stage crew if you're watching this on Kev on Stage Studios YouTube. Yeah, man. Lugo, what are we talking about today?
We're going to start off with one of the questions from the chat, which was about networking.
Yeah, let me scroll back a little bit.
Pull it up.
Boom. Okay, so hey, it's Maya. Hit us with the topic because we asked the chat what they might want to talk about. So we're going to kind of cover 2 different things. I figured we'll cover a little bit about this one because I feel like it could be kind of quick since we have 2 different experiences on networking. Networking specifically in the industry of entertainment in general. You all right?
I'm good, man.
What was that?
Hey, man, it's a little COVID sneeze, but I'm playing.
Oh,
we good out here.
Right,
yeah. We good.
How you guys network in your industry? Is it the same as like regular jobs? Lugo, go ahead and lead off because I think I can kind of attest to the quote unquote regular job response.
Word. So how do you guys network in your industry? So my come up, I'm still on the rising action. I still remember English class, exposition, rising action, climax, fallen action. I'm still in my student bag, but
There you go.
So I'm still on this rise in action. But I would say networking was a little weird for me because it was almost non-existent for me in my hometown. So a lot of my networking had to be relied on Instagram. Heavily, actually all of it. And that really came through. Yeah, I was really through Instagram. So I just made a ton of personal content. And one of the first people I connected with through IG was you, Josh.
I was one of the first?
Yeah, man.
Now stop, bro. For real?
Yeah. Back then, I was actually looking through my story archives to figure out the dates because I was figuring out something around the same time. And when I shot that show in Boston, when you guys were at the Berkeley Center in that little basement, the little basement type joint.
That's where our green room was literally a kitchen. I wish I feel like I got a photo of us down there, but we were literally in the kitchen. Because I mean, I'd pull up, just drop your stuff wherever.
Yeah, that's actually where World of Dance was before it became a TV show.
You told me about that.
Yeah, so I was at the Berkeley Center, and that was right when I started doing stuff. I didn't have really anything out posted, nothing crazy at that time.
I think you had some photos, or maybe just some of the stuff that you and your brother did. Because I mean, when people asked to pull up, it wasn't anything crazy. Don't get me wrong, but like I'll still kind of like see if people are really trying to do it or if they're just trying to like finesse into a show, you know?
Yeah.
And at the time, I feel like we connected even. It wasn't like right around the show. It was like probably a couple weeks or a couple months before. And then I was just like, yo, just remind me or something like that. Because normally people like will get excited about like, oh, like how can I finesse into a show? And then like if people
I'm trying to remember what the initial conversation was.
I remember I forget where we were at, but I remember like because I was traveling with Kev and I think Kev had already followed you or something, and I thought he knew you or something. So then I kind of went off that strength because like I'm very particular on who I bring around the circle. Unless it like I know it'll make sense.
I'm trying to figure what.
But anyway, long story short, I remember there was definitely like DM. I don't know how it got locked in, but I was just like, yo, if you want to come, like pull up here and you'll be good. And that was that joint at the what's it called?
Berkeley Center. That was a show in Boston. That was for the real comedians, real.
Yeah, that was my first time in. That wasn't my. Was that my first time? No, it wasn't my first time in Boston. But anyway, that was like. I remember that basement show. I'll try and find a photo, but that place was tough. That was a tough place to do it.
I reached out because at that time I didn't have any hyperlapses out yet. Nah.
I don't think you did. But I mean, I wasn't necessarily going based off video. I was going based off of like your photos or whatever. But that's an example of like not being afraid to like cold reach through an Instagram DM or
I'm trying to pinpoint what was that thing because I feel like there was something that connected something somehow. Like there was just off the cuff. There was something that I don't know.
I mean, at the time, right? And I still do it just in a different variation, but like I was still getting a feel of like actively doing photo and video work. And that's when we were shooting.
Yeah, because that's when we were
shooting Kev's documentary with all running guns. So I was like, yo, if you could help out with photos, that'd just be fire. Something along those lines. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But
so realistically, it just came out the timing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was great. But I mean, it worked out. And like, honestly, I don't think I've connected with many people outside of. Yeah, like I said, I don't really be having people pull up. I was like, dude, this dude loves Jesus. He likes taking photos. Kind of nice. It's the worst that could happen.
Hey, man, it worked out. But, and then from there, it was like a continual thing. Every time you pulled up to Boston, you're like, yo, I'm in Boston. I was like, word up. And then I slid through the next year again, and that's when y'all did that little comedy club thing bar. I forgot where it was, but
yeah, that was at it was at a hotel, but there was a comedy club attached to it because we had Irish J pull up out there. I don't know. We might be going back to that spot this year. I don't know. We added Boston. I think it's next week. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Word.
But yeah, anyway, we're back out there in a couple weeks. The week of the 12th.
Couple weeks?
Yeah.
Word. Might have me and Nico. But Nico about to crash with me for a month. So, hey, man.
Oh, word? Yeah, bro. Tell Fuji to pull up too.
Word. Say less, man. Have a little.
You know that. Hey, anyway, though, like I feel like learning how to navigate through social media, I think unless you're already like mutual fans of each other or like you follow each other or something, the more short and sweet and less spammy, the best. Especially nowadays, how you can like add a photo to a DM, which obviously could be crazy, but like if you just, I mean, what I would like to see if you don't have your work on your portfolio or like your portfolio ish on your page, like if your page is more personal or something like that, you could just add like a PDF of the portfolio and be like, yo, this is my work. Like, depending on what you're trying to do, right? But like for a photographer, videographer, I think that's an easy way to get your work in front of people without having to like try and blow them up on email or spam in the comments, because nobody likes dealing with that.
And honestly, it's honestly the follow-up, because anytime I connect with anyone, it's always about the initial connection for me. So when we connected, I mean, like we supported each other through Instagram, but we weren't talking at all. I didn't see you in person till that show. And then I would say the amount of time we spent together physically is like maybe 48 hours accumulated.
Yeah, I would say so. And that's this year, right? Yeah. Because when we pulled up for shows, it was pretty much just for the show and that was it.
Yeah, straight up.
But yeah, and then like stuff's grown from that, like got more gigs together. We got to like create some stuff pretty much, well, from the vision. I wouldn't say like from scratch, but yeah, I mean, that's been a pretty cool experience that is kind of tough to come by. My experience with networking started from when I was interning, and the homie Amir Abbasi, aka Blame the Label, who's going to soon be on this podcast as a guest, he didn't necessarily take me under his wing, but like I kind of gravitated towards him because like he had some similar values and qualities that I kind of wanted to grow into. Same with Kev. Those two, along with somebody else, but they were more on the production and like the technical aspect. That was the homie Sydney. I kind of like gravitated towards those three because, I mean, specifically Kevin, Amir too, though, right? Because they both fear God. And like for me, I was trying to navigate my own faith in the entertainment industry and all that too.
Especially early on, that's just like fundamental good.
Of course. Bro. I mean, I was 21 at the time, and like what other people were doing at that same company, like it could have been easy to fall into that and be just a part of the party industry circle.
Yeah.
Which like if that's your vibe, that's your vibe. But I didn't want to get caught up in that because I didn't want to be creating content for the wrong reason or with like the wrong intention. And that's something that I circle back on a lot in terms of like trying to realign and make sure like I just copped a whiteboard actually for the office room just to kind of make sure like certain things I see frequently just to kind of embed in my subconscious as well. But for me, going back to like how I started networking, I mean, my interest was at the time, like I really loved going to like music shows and stuff like that. And the homie Amir used to manage Freeway from Rockefeller and some more artists along the way. So he was tapped in early on and had like a bunch of different plugs, but he was pretty much just like, yo, any show you want to go to, we'll try and finesse it. We'll make it work. So we didn't go to like crazy shows, but I got to run around with him a lot. And I didn't realize this at first, but he really only navigated introducing me into people that like he co-signed. Because there's like a lot of people in the industry that are just in it for clout and don't really like have the passion for the culture. So like finding a mentor, I think was huge for my networking, even though that kind of happened organically based off of similar like core values and not necessarily characteristics, but like just like similar, like those similar pillars that you might align with, you know. And I think that's why it's important just to kind of like know who you are before you want to step into an industry like this, because this industry will chew you up and spit you out so quick if you let it. But that was my experience with networking, and like we've definitely built a friendship like off of that beforehand. You know, like that's another thing too. Like he definitely wanted to like fill me out to make sure I wasn't around just to meet everybody for the wrong intention and stuff like that too, which was like also important. So there's many different ways you can network, but like it really just depends on your current position. But I don't think there's one particular way, right? And I think it's always good to keep asking those questions based off of your current position.
Yeah, and I would say it's always quality over quantity. Like I could have made probably around like 4 times the amount of connections I have now, but I'm really happy with the quality of connects that I have now, because it's like they're relationships, they're like friendships where it's like, oh yo, these are the homies now. Like we all like, yo, it's like and then when they're homies, and it's like the past project we did for Chandler and all them, it's like, oh, now I could just co-sign all the homies that I've been building over the years, and we could all just get along. We could all just get together and build something, because it's less about, I think the dope thing is the vision is always community. So when you build these connects, it's not just, oh, what type of connects can this person bring me? It's what type of connects can we bring together? Because whenever I connect with anyone, it's always like, yo, what type of connect can I give you? Rather than just trying to have me connect with you and be like, all right, cool, I'm your guy now. It's like, nah, man, I got mad connects. If you need someone in LA, I got you.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a pretty genuine thing that you do, because I feel like, I mean, even off a whim, you know, like, yo, I mean, you've hit me on like, yo, I'm about to plug you with such and such, whether anything comes of it or not.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that goes into like, I want to word this correctly. It's wishing for others what you want for yourself, right? And I think having that mentality only helps you grow your network organically. You know, not like, I mean, everybody. This is something that I kind of struggled with in the past. I've always heard the term like there's room for everybody to shine, right? But also that's like something that I've learned as like a sub definition of that is like everybody can shine at their own, like with their own dimmer, you know, because like we might look at the 1% of creatives who everybody knows about and whatever, but that don't mean that you can bring value to a team that might not have the clout of that 1%er. You know what I mean? A lot of times that you might be like, oh, well, if I only knew such and such, I could get in the door for that, and then everybody can see like what I do. Like, I mean, a lot of times like that's what I would used to get like caught up in my head.
100%. Like early on, especially in a lot of careers, it's like, oh man, if I could just shoot for this one person, I could become this celebrity or with this person's shooter. But man, looking at it now, I'm like, actually, I don't want stuff like that. I'd rather gradually glow with my homies, and then we could all just like slowly elevate and do projects together. I think someone asked me a question the other day, where I was like, because you know, like my end goal, yo, I want to make a feature film, right? That's my goal, man. I want to make movies, and it wasn't until I saw The Joker where I tangibly knew what I wanted.
You see, they're developing the second one.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fire. Keep going. Sorry.
It's gonna be so fire. It's gonna be so fire. So when I watched The Joker and I watched the behind the scenes things, what really inspired me about that movie was the team. So it's Todd Phillips, Lawrence Sher, and when you look at their catalog and their portfolio, they did all the Hangovers together, and then they did The Joker together. And I was just like, because before then I was like, I know I want to make movie, but I never knew what that looked like. And when I saw that, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to just create with the homies to the point where, yo, we could just make movies together. We could just like that's like my goal, man.
Something that I was thinking about on the plane today randomly. Did you hear about that movie that Seth Rogen put out on Max? It's like The American Pickler or something like that.
Yeah, the one about I haven't seen it, but yeah.
Bro, it was cool. Like for me, I'm like, this is a good Seth Rogen movie. You know, it's not bad, but like it made me think about it. I was like, bro, I would love to even if it means like working up to it, right? I would love, because I mean, comedies DP wise, if you get like a cinematic comedy, that's a cherry on top, right?
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah.
time, I mean, I'm not saying most comedies are huff,
Even
but like you don't need, since there's so much that's brought to light from the comedy sense of a film, you don't necessarily need to try and elevate the cinema side of it. Not saying that that's not important, right? Because like if you get it, it's the cherry on top. But I was thinking about it, I was like, man, it'd be tight because like our circle right now, and when I say our circle, like one of the immediate circles that I work with is like with Kev, Tony, Tahir. Like it'd be tight creating like an Adam Sandler type,
like a funny people.
Yeah, a funny people. And I was like, bro, it'd be fire to DP a movie for them, or maybe direct a movie for them. Yeah. Like, I think that's like
at that level.
1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, Max Original or whatever is going to happen in 5 years with movie theaters or whatever. But having that, like, in just realizing that based off of continuously elevating with the homies, I was like, bro, that's because I was talking to Tony yesterday. We did a Spectrum commercial. He's like, bro, would you direct? I was like, 100%. You know, I was like, I'm not necessarily the most confident in directing, because for me, I tie that a lot with thinking of creative, and that's still something, or like the conceptualizing, and that's still something that I just don't sit down and put the time into throw ideas around. But I was like, I would 100% though, just because I think it'd be fun, especially knowing the talent, you know, like you know which ad-libs you could throw in that are organic, they don't sound out of left field. And that's what I really think, like once you start finding your tribe, you start finding your circle, and you just keep elevating together, like that's where the most organic pieces of like film or comedy or whatever you're working in, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's where like those.
Yeah, because there's like a weird thing. I remember growing up hearing a lot. It's like, oh, don't do business with family, or don't do business with the homies. You know what I'm saying? You keep your family, you keep your personal life and your business separate. But man, the best experience I've ever had are doing business with the homies.
Yeah.
Man, once you reach that level,
and you get to put homies in positions, you know,
100%. And there's just that level of trust that you can't get from just a professional relationship.
Yeah, man. In entertainment, like nepotism is such a big thing that could work against you, or if you get in a position, you can have that, you know, you can put the others in the, like you put the homies in the position. Like even yesterday, man. I mean, a lot of the Spectrum commercials we do are primarily production company wise.
Yeah.
It's the same circle. And I get it. I mean, out of all people, like we get it. Yeah. Because we do that similarly when we get the opportunity.
Yep.
So to be able to like provide that opportunity for somebody that might not ever get the look, but you know they can have the seed planted to start blooming into something, like I think that's what, like going back to networking, like being able to find that circle to do that, hopefully, like I think that's way more important than looking for that look just for clout, you know?
Yeah. And it's definitely hard early on because your mindset is just like, oh man, I need to get my foot in the door. But I think that's something that, you know, I definitely caught myself in, but then I sit back at the end of the day and I'm like, what's the long-term goal? What's the long-term goal? Because early on, I was connecting with a ton of random people in Boston. I was like, I don't even like these people, but it was just good connection. I was like, oh man. And they eventually just died out because they weren't good organically. And then I was just like, man, I'm just going to put my head down and just focus on what I could do right now, which is create personal content. And then from there, just build relationships out of that. And it's been working out. Not a lot of connects, but they're the right connects.
I think that goes to quality over quantity, right? Yeah. Because you can know everybody, but you also might not be able to make a move.
Yeah. Or maybe find a ton of little moves. And it's funny because the most amazing connections that I've gotten are like connects that I'll make, the most genuine connections that I've made over the years, that I might not even talk to them in like over a year, but we have such a good connect that 2 years after they'll put me on this gig that is huge. And I'll be like, man, but you know, those connects look out for you and they always have you in mind. And these type of things. And I think that's That's a blessing. Something just popped in my mind, dude. The most cinematic romantic comedy I've ever seen is with Chris Evans. It's called Playing It Cool. I think it's on Hulu. I think maybe it's called Playing It Cool, dude. Most cinematic rom-com I've ever seen.
I don't think I've seen it.
I watched it. I was like, yo, this cinematography is crazy.
Big Aubrey Plaza fan though.
Yeah, she's in it.
Luke Wilson's in it. Anthony Mackie. Oh, bro, I gotta watch it.
Bro, cinematography, A1.
A1.
And it's stuff like that where I'm just like, man, I just wanna make stuff with the homies, man. That's the best, man.
Yeah. And honestly, I think there's a point in time where you got to learn to be content with like your circle.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I don't even use the term networking a lot anymore. You know, there was a moment where like, oh, I want to go out and network, or I want to go out and shake hands. Like that was a big thing when I was still trying to figure out like what I was trying to do. And because there's always people you can meet. There's always people coming into the industry. There's always people like, you know, that are in positions that you might be interested in. But like from where I'm at currently, like there's definitely a point where you have to use what you have and start moving. You got to start doing something.
And you can't forget that, like, let's say you, me, Nico, you know what I'm saying? Real connects, right? Real homies. And then you can't forget your homies are also making other homies too. And it's like it extends because like you said, once you have someone you could co-sign, then they'll have someone they could co-sign too.
And it's tough. It's tough for me to co-sign people, bro, because like I'm character based. Yeah. I try and if I'm co-signing somebody, like I really rock with them.
Yeah. And the worst is, dude, I've done this before. I've co-signed people that I was just like, I kind of knew. I kind of assumed what they were like.
Yeah.
And then I co-signed someone, or I had this and I regret it. I'm like, man, why did I co-sign you?
Yeah, but
not out of a skill or anything, but just out of character. And that's, you know, you live, you learn.
Yeah. I think we all need those experiences too, though.
100%.
Because then we might not extend the opportunity to put somebody in a position and like based off of like trust or fear that something might go wrong. Like, because at the end of the day, like you could put somebody in the seat and balls in their court.
Yeah.
You know, you obviously want your name to be lived up to and all that, but yeah, it gets kind of tricky. So once again, shouts to Maya in the Twitch chat live right now for throwing that in there. I hope that kind of covered a little bit of the spectrum of networking. We only got about 15-ish more minutes before I got to head downstairs because we do have a show tonight. It's our first show in Tacoma. Lugo's got a little bit more time, but I can't do it tonight. I'm sorry. But anyway, we got another 15 minutes. We wanted to touch on this other topic that I think was along the lines, correct me if I'm wrong here, Lugo, or feel free to hop in. It had to do with family.
I think it was like, how do you balance the family with your career? Who said that? Someone said that. It was
that was in the YouTube comment, right?
Twitch.
Oh, Twitch. See, here I go neglecting the Twitch feed. Oh man, that's gonna be deep.
Come on, man.
I mean, even if it is balancing family and work, right? As a creative or as a freelancer or a permalancer, how does what you do affect family life? Shouts to D Chris.
There we go.
Man, I think, speaking from my experience, I come from a family where my dad, very much so family based. He's turned into the patriarch of the family after my grandparents passed away. He's the one that always tries to organize everything super last minute, but that's a whole another conversation. But he's always the one that wants people to be at the events, you know, and early on it was tough. It was tough I think for his acceptance of what I did was out of the spectrum of being able to be around for everything, but that was also because of a choice that I would be making as well. Of like, man, I like early on, I was in the grind mode of like no days off. I got to be everywhere. I want to network. This kind of ties in with that too, right? Where I kind of put, or not kind of, where I did put work events or one-off gigs ahead of family events too, and that like built up a lot of guilt and resentment that I had towards like, especially when my dad would react away, or like even, I mean, not necessarily my mom so much. You know, my mom always was like, "Yo, go do your thing, go shine." But I could definitely tell when there was like a type of way that was being felt, um, or like a sadness of like me not being around as much from like my mom's side and stuff. So, but I would say recently, um, like a little bit before the pandemic even happened too, like honestly, once I started going to therapy, you know, it was like, it was a balance of letting go of some of that guilt and being able to like not hold that weight of like, dang, I missed this year, I missed this and this, and like just being able to find a balance in being present for the things you're able to, and like, but also still going to do what you love, because you'll also like, I think even if you like, if you still have the passion to go out and do X, Y, and Z that aren't the traditional weekends off, I'm available for every family event. You're gonna have the what if resentment that against yourself of like, man, I never gave myself a fair shot to be able to do this. Living your life, you know, but everybody's different. And it's definitely affected my personal, like working as hard as I did a couple years ago definitely affected my personal life a lot, with my work, with my, not necessarily work friends, but like my friends back home, my family. I got some family that still don't understand what I do, and they have like a little bit of not animosity, but they definitely feel a type of way because of it. But I've learned to just kind of be at peace with it, you know, like and that also goes back to last episode too, of like people pleasing. You know, I would go out of my way to make sure I would stretch and be at both places somehow.
Yeah.
And like there comes to a point where I couldn't do all that. But it's definitely affected my life, and it still does here and there. You know, I still have the thoughts of like, oh, am I doing too much here? Am I not spending enough time here? But I think that's a constant balance.
And I think a lot of it comes to education, because I know a lot of people in my family. I mean, my grandfather, you know, he's an OG, so man, he still be sending me Facebook messages about like, yo, there's the engineering school in Connecticut that you should go to. I just be laughing, but it's just like, you know, there's just like, there's a lack of knowledge on like the security of a job. And right, like now I just look at it as funny, because it's just like, man, like I know for me, I know I'm chilling. I've always, you know, it is what it is. But I definitely feel that, because I know when I was traveling for a straight year, I just was completely disconnected. And then I came back, and then it's kind of like, and it's always weird, because then you come back and you feel like a different person.
Well, you are.
Yeah. And then it's like, there's just a weird gray area, and and a part of you wants to be like, oh, let's go back to the way it was, but it's like, that's just not how things work. So it's always just a moving forward mentality. Okay, how can we keep building from here? How can we reconnect these bridges that weren't burnt, but you know, maybe they're blocked off because, you know, it's been so long. And it's sometimes some things you don't have to revisit, but I believe, you know, family's family, man. So family's always worth taking the first step and meeting halfway. But yeah, it's a constant. This type of job is a constant of like, there's seasons where it's like strong connections with the family, and then complete seasons where it's complete disconnect, and then it's just balancing those back to back. But that's just the reality of what it is, and then you don't really notice it because you're just working.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you're back and you're trying to, hang out with family and friends, it's like, yo, I haven't seen you in like 9 months. I'm like, oh, that's right. And then you got to go through that process of rebuilding again each
Yeah,
time.
yeah, man. And I think that, like you said, it's a constant recalibration, because even like I think
Yeah.
about downtime differently too, right? Like
Yeah.
right now, if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably be like trying to take a nap because I haven't really slept today. I'd be trying to take a nap, or I'd be like just chilling on my phone, right? And
Yeah.
like, I'll get in a habit of doing that during my downtime if I'm here. So naturally, when I go back home after developing that habit of just like kicking it, when I do have a little bit of free time at home, like if I'm around my brother, if I'm around my dad, like even if I pull up on him and we watch a game or whatever, like for me, I'm cool just kind of being in that moment and just kind of chilling,
Yeah.
maybe
Just
on my
chilling.
phone,
Yeah.
maybe taking a nap with the game still on. Everybody's in the room, is cool, right?
Yeah.
Like even that still has its little asterisk on quality time, right? Because like for me, that's being present but not being present. That's not
Yeah.
fully engaged in the moment, but that's
And
still
it
something.
and it's because our variation of quality time is almost conditioned to something differently because they're used to doing that 24/7.
1,000.
And then when you're working 24/7, you appreciate just coming back home and just chilling because
Yeah,
you don't get to do that. But on their end, it's like, yo, let's go out, let's plan this, let's go to the park. And you're like, oh man,
yeah,
I'm
and
tired, man.
and honestly, like when I think about um like recalibrating those relationships, or like kind of like reigniting, I treat it as if it's almost another job, because you really
Yeah,
have to put the work into
yeah,
like even communicating, because sometimes there'll be like if I'm free, like if an afternoon frees up or something, I'll think about it and I'll be like, yo, Pops, what you want? And they'll be like, oh, I'm doing this and this, or I'm over here, and like that just
yeah.
line up.
And
So it's
and
like
and,
putting the work to
and
schedule.
sometimes they don't even. Sometimes, especially for my family, sometimes they don't really understand.
Right.
I think now there's a more of an understanding because a lot of the jobs are remote
Mm-hmm.
too, even before the pandemic. So I think actually I'm grateful for the pandemic to a degree because a lot of the people around me that never even experienced remote work are experiencing now, and now they kind of have an understanding of what it's like. Because beforehand, it's like, oh, Miguel's at home. I'll try to have, I have family that lives down the block, so I'll just have them just pull up randomly, knock on the door. It's like, yo, y'all can't do this. I'm working, or like
Yeah.
I'll be like on calls and stuff, and it's like, I got to be like, oh man, I'm busy, but I guess it's like that switching there. It's like, yeah, but you're at home. You know what I'm saying? You're chilling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just that lack of knowledge that is just hard. You can't really teach or have someone grasp that type of lifestyle until they experience it, which is why the pandemic has helped so much with like just respecting time
Yeah.
and things like that.
I mean, that's one of the things I'm grateful about the pandemic for, to be honest with you, is like if I wasn't forced to slow down, I don't know how much effort I would have been able to put in
Yeah.
into some of those relationships. And that's even not, and that's not even saying that like during the pandemic I was 100%, 110% going in, but I was definitely able to water those relationships a lot more by being forced to be around a lot more. Phone calls are a lot easier to be made when you're not around the clock. Oh, I wonder if he's working at this time, or oh, I wonder if he's landed in, or if he's tired. Doing stuff like this, it relieved a lot of pressure from both sides.
Yeah.
And like that's when I was just like, oh man, this and then man, when you start making those connections again, you remember why. Granted, like I know not everybody has great relationships with their parents, and I want to be mindful of that as well. But even just family in general, like there's still some family where I'm distant with, and I'm learning to accept that. But like it reignites a spark of connection, and then like I mean, I don't know, man. It just like it really it created something that I had been wanting to recreate
Yeah.
for a while, but
It's like hard to do, but like I know this past year I was just like, let me at least put some sort of mental energy towards it because man, the worst feeling is when family gets together because some tragedy happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone just feels like crap because it's like, man, this is what it takes to get everyone together. Like
Yeah.
someone really sick, someone died or something like that. And then it's like, man, I don't like it's a horrible feeling when it's like, man, this is the only time the family really gets like connected like that. And it's it's trying to put in that effort, but it's just like you're so used to the way like your work is or whatever, like your lifestyle is, and it's just like you just forget, man. I think one of the fatal human flaws we have is just we become desensitized to things so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Our lifestyle, we get used to, and we just, man, we content with it. And then 3 months pass by, it's like, yo, I haven't like chilled with my brother. Like, what's
Yeah, man.
and you just don't notice it.
I feel that, bro. I feel that
Yeah,
tough, especially like, I mean, you went through the same situation, right? You're living with your brother for X amount of time.
yeah,
You
we lived
moved out,
together for like a year and a half.
right? And then a life change happens, and then that isn't there. So like the little bit of time of you just expecting to be around each other, like, oh snap, I got to make
Yeah,
an effort to
yeah,
check in with bro. I got to make an effort to do
yeah.
this and this.
Because
But
you take for granted all those just living together. We
Mhm.
go days without even talking to each other, but just being in the same house together does a lot to a relationship rather than when you don't see someone every day.
No doubt.
You look at them and you're just like, yo, how you been? And it's just like, man, I I actually don't know how my brother is doing. Like people, I remember when people would ask me, it's like, yo, how's your brother? I was like, yo, honestly, I don't know. To be honest, I haven't talked to him.
Yeah. I mean, and usually once it gets to that point, I'll make sure I pull up on him at some point, even if
Yeah,
it's like an hour. I mean, I'll bring little bro food. I'll like
yeah,
text on the phone. He's trash. I
yeah.
mean, mind
Because
you,
your brother's how old?
he's 18.
He's 18. Cool.
He's super trash on the phone, but
Got you.
he don't respect me enough to play Warzone with him. I don't think. I mean, I don't. He's not that nice.
Yeah,
Thing like I don't. I'm just kidding, but I'm trying to get a feel for like respecting. Like I that's the thing, bro. Is like I gotta remember, man. He's 18. Remember what it was like at 18. Like
yeah.
he's got his circle, but I'm also like selfishly wanting to be having that
Yeah,
connection with him, you know. And
same. Cause like, yo, my brother's 2 years older than me. He
mhm.
wifed up. This man got a whole dog. He got a whole house, and that's why even then, it's hard. It's hard to connect because I at least like it when it's different. Because I like you in your situation. Maybe sometimes you want to connect with your brother. Man, this play. Maybe he's busy, whatever. But it's like when both of us are busy, it's just like, damn, we both forget, and then there's just
Yeah,
this huge gap, and it's like, damn. Uh, and then no one notices, and then just time just passes, and then it's like, oh man, I like both of us are in the same space where we're both too busy to do anything. There's just this huge gray area of just like absence,
mhm.
and yeah, it's almost like the times when it's like, shouts to my mom, she got married this past year. She's a single mom my whole life. Shouts to
Damn.
her, but it's like, you forget she wifed up. I mean, she married now, so she busy. I'm busy, but then you forget, man. I kind of miss when my mom was bugging me, calling me, and it's like you don't realize it till it's like, man, everyone's busy
So it's
now.
not happening,
That
bro.
ain't happening no more, man.
I feel that, bro.
It's the same thing when you used to living at home and you finally move out. It's like, man, I miss those meals once in a while. You know what I'm saying? When you be eating
Mhm.
the DoorDash for the third time.
For real, bro. Man, we might continue this topic on.
Yeah, man,
Uh,
you got a whole show, bro.
I know, bro. I'm stretching it, but yeah, man. I think we could even maybe make a part two about this if we didn't cover everything of how this affects work. I mean, not even work relationships, right? This affects relationships in general.
Yeah, because
Um,
it's a constant thing we're trying to figure out even right now.
yeah, I mean, it's a constant juggling act
Yeah,
at the end of the day. But yeah, man, I'm gonna wrap this up. Unfortunately, I feel like we just got into a little heater. But
yeah, man.
man, sorry guys, this one's a little bit shorter than normal. But appreciate y'all for pulling up. Hopefully we covered a little bit more in depth on the two topics suggested by the live chat. Shouts to the Twitch stream.
Shots of Wisebot. Shots of Wisebot.
Wisebot, who's catching this on Thursday. Yeah, man. I mean, I definitely think both of those were solid topics. The how it affects family. Honestly, that's even something that like is a big topic in therapy that I'd be working. You know, because it's built a lot of guilt and some resentment, but mainly just like learning how to be content. Ultimately, like trying to wrap this up a little bit, like learning how to be content with what's currently like the moments that you're still experiencing or that you're able to experience, and not like the moments that you might have missed. Because I mean, at the end of the day, all we have are the moments that are like in this time that you're able to share with that individual. Because God willing, there's more in the future, but you never know.
It's just having that piece about it, because a lot of the family situations, it's like as creatives, we got regular family life situations, like me, single parent. On top of that, then there's our whole lifestyle on top of that, so it's even more enhanced. But there's got to be a piece with it.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you guys for pulling up for this. I don't even know which number it is, but we're going. I think we're almost at 20.
This is 18, I think.
All right, dude, don't you?
I think so.
Man, this was a good time.
This was a good time.
This was a good time. Twitch stream chat. Shouts to y'all for pulling up once again. I know this was kind of off a whim. Grateful for y'all. Grateful for all the input and the topic suggestions. We're gonna keep doing this every week. I'm trying to. We're dedicating it every week.
Every week
until further notice. But yeah, we'll see y'all next time. Lugo, let them know where to find you.
Where's Lugo everywhere? And GG, right? That's like the Twitch thing. GG.
The Twitch suggested that we do GP
for
a great podcast or a good podcast.
Oh, okay.
GG. So that's why I threw in throw some GPs in the chat. But anyway, appreciate y'all for pulling up. We'll see you guys next week. Chat, I'll see you guys next week a couple times, I promise. This week was chaos. We had a commercial yesterday. We had the flight this morning. It was the whole thing. Love y'all. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.
Peace.